Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Levi Clay here, and I'm back again for another listening party stream. Yes, listening party. This one's going to be fun. Inspired by the guitar. What a monster. Absolutely stunning instrument. We should get out of the way. So that's there for me to pick up if I need to for some reason. Yeah, so I dug that guitar out. Well, I noticed it. So, okay, here goes the story. We are in isolation, obviously, at the moment, and my wife, being the paranoid wreck that she often is, was convinced that she was infected with COVID. She's not. So she made me sleep in the spare room. Awesome. So I'm in the spare room, and I'm lying in bed, and I look over, and there on the floor is a coffin case. And I see my coffin case, and I go, ha ha ha, I know what's in there. Obviously, what else is going to be in there? I should make a video of that guitar. I've been meaning to do it for a very long time. So I bust out the guitar and was like, okay, what am I going to do? Talk about it? And I thought, well, no, I'll record a little guitar cover type thing. So there's, some footage for the video. So I did that, and came out really good. And in doing that, I had to decide which track I wanted to record. And I ended up going with Left Behind. But when I put a post out on Facebook talking about, guys, best Slipknot riff, there wasn't a general consensus. Everybody had a different idea of what the best Slipknot riff was, because Slipknot have got tons of great riffs, right? Absolutely tons of great riffs. Because they're a great band. They're a great metal band. They really are. So, I enjoyed that, and then I thought, well, you know what? I want to listen to some Slipknot. And Slipknot, for the uninitiated, are a super interesting band, because I'm not going to say they've changed their sound as dramatically as, say, Opeth have, but there's definitely, each one of their albums definitely has a vibe to it, right? The first album, the self-titled Slipknot album, really good album. I was going to listen to that, but I know I won't cover anything off of that because there's a lot more DJ and sample type things on there. It's very new metal. The second album, Iowa, is heavy as two elephants in a bag, to quote Mick Thompson, though he said that in reference to Volume 3. But Volume 3, the album that came after this, was nowhere near as heavy as Iowa. Nowhere near as heavy. Had more guitar solos on it. In fact, had guitar solos on it full stop, because obviously there weren't any on Iowa. And there's definitely some more melodic moments on there. Tracks like Before I Forget. The album after that, All Hope Is Gone, is still Slipknot-y, but also kind of brings in a lot of Stone Sour sounds, to my ears at least. And then from there you go into the Grey Chapter, I think was the one after that. I'm double checking this, so I'm on the right. Yeah, All Hope Is Gone. The Grey Chapter. Now, to me, the Grey Chapter was very much a Stone Sour light album. And then the latest album, We Are Not Your Kind, again, to me, it just felt like a Stone Sour light album. Now, there were certainly elements that were Slipknot-y, but for the most part, it sounded very Stone Sour. Whereas Iowa is heavy and definitely Slipknot. There's very little Stone Sour influence on this, because obviously, actually, Stone Sour weren't a band with an album out at this point. So for me, it'll be a throw-up between Iowa and Slipknot, the self-titled album being the best album. But absolutely awesome. Really, really cool. Love the band. Mick Thompson was a huge influence on me as a young man. Very, very big influence on me. Massively, like one of the cornerstones of importance in terms of influence for me. In fact, some of you may remember this classic Total Guitar issue that featured Mick Thompson, Joe Satriani, and Noodles from the band The Offspring, and they interviewed each other. That was sort of my introduction, and those three guys were my three big heroes when I was younger, and it would have been because of that magazine. So, for those of you that have tuned in, you're just tuning in for your first listening party, just as a warning, I will not be streaming the music over this. You can access this music yourself, either using something like Spotify, there is a link in the description. You can use something like Tidal or Apple Music, maybe own it on CD like I do, obviously, because I'm a big CD guy. Cue the album up, we are going to listen to the album, we're going to talk about it, we're going to have a good time, And yeah, we'll have a good one. It's going to be a good stream. It's going to be a fun stream. So thank you very much for your kind support. Just want to say thank you to my supporters over on Patreon, and an extra special thanks to Chris Motes, who is still a top tier patron. Thank you very much for your support, buddy. In these trying times, it's nice to have a little bit of income. Usually my Patreon money is reserved for stuff for the channel, like improving the channel, buying materials that I'm going to use for the channel, or doing up the studio to improve the sound, the look, etc., new cabling and everything. But this is the first month where I'm relying on my Patreon to actually live. So thank you very much for the support. I know a lot of musicians are struggling right now, and I'm not having it easy, but that nice little safety barrier has kind of made being essentially unemployed, along with most of the country, made that a little bit easier on me and the family. If you would like to check out a book on Amazon, please do. Have a look for Levi Clay. I have lots of books, more coming, etc., etc. Let me read some comments, and then we'll talk about Slipknot and we'll listen to this album. So, I'm done, bro. Let's go! Marty V, how's it going? Connor's looking forward to this listening party. Big fan of Slipknot back in the day. Never gave the album too much time because Subliminal Verses soon after. Oh, wow. Yeah, this album's great. It really is. Games, Guitars and Gore has a massive turd. Me too. Andrew Catania, how's it going, man? No news on Lance, I assume. Adam S, Iowa, going through a nostalgic heavier phase of listening, Levi. It was just purely because of that, like I say, that video. I want to pick it up again because it's beautiful. What a guitar. It's so cool. I really like the idea, actually, of doing a Slipknot cover for YouTube, like a full song. Get someone like K-Mac to sing the vocals on it. And, in order to do that, I'll have to do some listening, right? So it seemed a shame. Like, obviously, there are other listening parties I want to do. I want to get into some of the jazz and the blues and the country and all of that stuff. But as I just done a Slipknot video, it seemed obvious to dig into a Slipknot album. And also it gives me an opportunity to go back and listen to a classic album that I've not heard in very, very long time. I've not listened to this album in a very long time. It's probably been at least 15 years since I've listened to this album from start to finish. And probably 10 years since I've listened to this album other than just one song, listen to more than one song on this album in a row. So, nice to go back and listen to these albums and see how we feel about them. Richard Henry, how's it going, man? Remember buying the first album the day it came out. Yeah. I remember back in school, high school, everybody had either a Slipknot hoodie or an Offspring hoodie or a Linkin Park hoodie, and very rarely had they actually heard the bands, but popular songs. So, no numbers on anything like it was. I'm really not sure what you're talking about, man. Games, Guitars and Gore. How does this work, bud? You playing, or you need to play it on a separate player, Darren? Again, I'll bring this up. In order to respect copyright owners, I cannot stream their music in my video. The idea here is that we all stream the music together and talk about it. So check the link on Spotify in the video description. Your interaction makes these streams what they are. So please comment along and chat with your fellow viewers. Right, let's talk about Iowa. So, Marilyn Manson hoodie. Yeah, good point, Connor. Actually, that one was everywhere as well. Blink-182 as well. Everyone had to take off your pants and jacket hoodie. It was one of those. We're going to have one of those hoodies. So, Iowa, the album. Slipknot's Iowa is the second studio album from the American heavy metal band Slipknot, released on Roadrunner Records, August 28, 2001. It was produced by Ross Robinson and Slipknot. The title derives from the band's home state of Iowa, which members have stated is one of their greatest sources of inspiration. With much anticipation for the album following the success of their 1999 self-titled debut, pressures on the band were high. Their relationships with each other suffered, and this was later described as the darkest time of their career. It was also the first album to have Jim Root record all of his guitar tracks on a Slipknot album, the guitarist having featured on only 2 songs on their debut, due to his joining very late in the recording on that release. Despite troubles within the band, and with Iowa's development, Slipknot promoted it for almost a year. Iowa was a major success, premiering in the top 10s in 9 countries, generally positively received. It includes some of their notable songs such as Disaster Piece, the Heretic Anthem, People Equal Shit, and the Grammy-nominated Left Behind and My Plague. While more technical than their debut, Iowa is considered the band's heaviest and darkest album. It has been certified platinum in the UK, United States, Canada. With a runtime of 66 minutes and 19 seconds, Iowa is the band's longest album. In addition to being their longest album, it also contains their longest song to date, the title track. It's going to be a struggle to not skip that one, if I'm completely honest. Special edition of Iowa was released or reissued November 1st, 2011 to celebrate its 10th anniversary. It was accompanied by a full live audio of the hit DVD Disaster Pieces and a film entitled Goat, directed by Sean, with 4 music videos, never before seen interviews and footage from the Iowa period. There's definitely a lot more information that you're going to get on this album than we did for like some of the later Aussie albums. We'll just talk briefly about the recording and production. Iowa's recorded at Sound City, Sound Image Studios in LA, produced by Ross Robinson, also produced their debut album. Drummer Joey Jordison and Paul Gray, the bass player, began working on music together in October 2000 and wrote material for most of the album. And that's worth mentioning. Like in Slipknot, one of the big writers was Joey and the other big writer was Paul, the bass player. Of course, the band doesn't have either of those members anymore, so their sound, I think, has changed significantly because of that. And of course, percussion is a huge, huge part of the Slipknot sound. Always going to have a great drummer. Currently, they've got Jay playing drums for them, but Joey playing drums. He had a dominating drum sound. But they also have 2 percussionists in the band, so that mixture of heavy metal, but also brutal percussion, like really hitting you in the face with the percussion. We're not just talking drums, we're talking hitting kegs with baseball bats type things. Like they wanted that really raw, aggressive sound, and they totally got that. So during this time, other members took a break after the extensive touring that had followed their debut. However, on January 17th, Slipknot entered the studio and began recording new material. This period of the band's career became known as their worst. Jordan recalled, so this is a quote from Joey Jordison, "We were going to war," citing the lack of a break for himself and Gray. Other factors included Corey Taylor's alcohol addiction and other members' drug addictions and management issues affecting the relationships in the band. "Recording Iowa was fucking hell," recalled Sean. "I wanted to kill myself. There were drugs, bitches, rock and roll and all that shit. People expected so much of us then. People equal shit was our way of saying fuck off and leave us alone. There was nothing happy about Iowa," confirmed Taylor. "All of a sudden, we were these metal stars and we weren't really planning for it. We all got caught up in the lifestyle and the problems that come with that. A darkness set in the beginning of Iowa that none of us quite recognised." Jordison, however, noted Iowa, even more than their first record, was the album we really wanted to make. It was the first album where guitarist Jim Root had been significantly involved. After joining during the late stages of the debut, during an interview with Guitar Magazine in 2001, Root explained it was so exciting as well as scary to be part of the whole huge process, adding that there was a lot more pressure from fellow guitarist Mick Thompson to perform well. To FHM, Taylor revealed that he put himself in a specific situation to achieve his performance on the album. While recording vocals for the final song, Iowa, he was completely naked, vomiting all over himself and cutting himself with broken glass. Okay? That's where the best stuff comes from, he explained. You've got to go break yourself down before you can build something great. While producing the album, Ross Robinson was injured in a dirt bike accident, suffering a fractured back. In the process, he returned to the studio after a day of hospital treatment, reportedly putting all of his pain into the album, much to the admiration of the band. So there are, there's definitely a few more things to read. I just want to talk about the critical reception. So following the success of the band's self-titled album, Dick Porter wrote that the anticipation to the follow-up was intense. Prior to its release, Jordison proclaimed, "Wait till you hear our fucking next record, it smokes our first album. Shit's twice as technical, 3 times as heavy." Iowa generally received favourable reviews from critics. College Music Journal reviewed it as brutal, unrelenting, scorching. Many reviews noted the heavy themes. You get the idea. So, extremely heavy album. I love this record, or at least I always loved this record. We'll see if it's aged well. Track listing. All music was written by Sean Crahan, Paul Gray, Joe Jordison, Chris Fenn, Mick Thompson, Sid Wilson, Craig Jones, and Jim Root. All lyrics by Corey Taylor, except where noted. So, they all have writing credit, but of course, who knows? Who really knows how much was written by who, I should say. Killer album. So, yeah. Any questions thus far? Anything that you would like to know? My thoughts on Slipknot. I really want a Mick Thompson mask. I've wanted a Mick Thompson mask for years. And I don't know if I want the classic mask, because of course the classic mask goes with this guitar, or if I'd want the modern mask. I think I'd probably lean towards the classic mask, but of course I don't have the hair for it. As Doug Cartwright said to me, I'm looking more Jim Root than Mick Thompson. Jim Root, never really a big influence on me though. Stone Sour I'm not as crazy on, so yeah. Mick's more technical, brutal death metal thing was definitely an influence on me when I was younger, but then I moved away from that when I went into the land of the bands that he listened to. So listening to Cacophony and Racer X, those were the two that he recommended in one of his Total Guitar interviews that was enough to sort of change my direction as a player. So good on you, Mick. Good evening, Benjamin. How's it going? And hello, Joe Clifford. How's it going, man? Evening, all. Joey was unreal, in fairness. Wouldn't mind his signature guitar. Are we talking Joey's? His BC Rich? He did have a BC Rich. Or are we talking the Mick Thompson? Mick Thompson. Okay, cool. Which one, though? Because obviously there are a lot of them. We're talking the Ibanez? I hope we're talking the BC Rich. It's got to be the BC Rich, hasn't it? I'm just going to bring it up on the screen one more time. Look at that. Black binding around the edges. Super cool. Black binding on the fretboard as well, which is kind of cool. And then, of course, look at that inlay. Neat. A strange thing to put on your guitar. So, beautiful guitar. Really like this guitar. A sizable instrument. It's a very big instrument. I like that though. I'm a big boy. Question you may or may not know: ever played the Ibanez or Jackson models? If so, how do they compare to your BC Rich? So I played the Ibanez one. It's cool. It just kind of plays like an RG, but it's an up my street kind of RG because it doesn't have a tremolo on it. It looks like it has a tremolo, but that's not actually a tremolo. That's a fixed bridge. So yeah, big fan. Warlocks are still cool. Is that a statement or a question? I like them. I do like them. I love a Warlock bass. I think the Warlock bass is killer. Gyrolam says, this just before their identities were really revealed. Remember reading magazines as a 12-year-old wondering who they were. Nobody knew. They were mysterious. Fun times. Well, yeah, so I made reference to the Total Guitar interview with Mick Thompson, Noodles, Kevin Wasserman, and Joe Satriani. And Mick Thompson was unmasked in that. Not because he planned to be, but because he forgot to bring his mask. So, yeah, that was I think that was his official unmasking. That was his first unmasking. Yeah. So let me cue this album up and we'll get listening. This is your 2-minute warning, guys. If you could head on over to Spotify, I am using the this version of the album, which is it's the only version they have on Spotify. This is the reissue. We will be listening to it up to Iowa, which is the title track. Everything else. This is everything that came post. I'm assuming that the My Plague New Abuse mix is the version of My Plague that was the single for the Resident Evil film. If anyone remembers that, My Plague was the track for the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the showcase track. What is the New Abuse? Let's find this out. My Plague New Abuse mix. Could be wrong on that. Could just be a totally different mix on the song. But essentially, in the original version of My Plague, Corey shouts all the vocals because, of course, it's Slipknot. But when they did the release for Resident Evil, they wanted more vocal performance rather than screaming, so more singing. Let's have a look. Music section, composition, lyrics. A reworked version of My Plague, dubbed the New Abuse mix, would be featured in the Resident Evil soundtrack and released as a single. The track was remixed, features cleaner vocals and some minor arrangement shifts. Yeah, so New Abuse mix is the lesser version. I'll tell you what, we will listen to the New Abuse mix because I like that. The second part of it is is literally just the Disaster Pieces audio. Disaster Pieces was a live DVD featured from around the time I owned that DVD, and I'm going to show you what I loved about that. So yeah. So when I was a kid, I got the Disaster Pieces DVD. And one of the bonus features on that album, one of the bonus features, absolutely incredible, was that I'm not playing the music over this because obviously, again, I don't want to get a copyright strike. But one of the cool things about that was that as one of the bonus features, you could watch the camera. You could select the camera that you wanted to watch, and every single band member had their own camera. And Mick Thompson, as you can see, had a headstock cam, which I thought was so cool. And just getting to see how relentlessly he bangs his head when he plays, how solid his guitar is. It just stays there, and he moves around the guitar. So this is him playing People Equal Shit live. Such a great riff, actually, because he's got a lot of moving around and like banging the head and just doing all those position shifts. And he's not really having to look. He's just doing what needs to be done. That head just keeps going. Absolutely love it. To me, this is super cool. I could literally sing along to this because I know where it is in the song. That head just keeps going. The hand's just going to take care of everything. Everything will be fine. Mick knows what he's doing. Where's the chorus? Heading into the chorus. To me, this was cool as a kid. I just wanted to be like this man. So yeah, that guitar there, that's the one I'm playing now. I'm not playing it, I own it. I wouldn't say I'm playing it. I do like the idea of doing a cover though, so who knows, maybe we'll find the cover that I'm going to do when listening to this. Right, has everybody got this album queued up? Has everyone got this album ready to play on Spotify? Let's go into Spotify. I'm just going to do a full playthrough. I'm not going to pause it between tracks. I'll talk about it as and when I feel like it. So let me just check my levels. Everything should be okay. You're not going to get playback. Audio is fine. We are good. Okay, I'm going to start playing this album in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Immediately sounds like a chainsaw starting up. They both played acoustic. Darren, have you changed YouTube channels? My problem with the new Mick Thompson models, the Jackson and the Ibanez, is they just look like they just look like, super strats. And that's fine, but Mick was always really vocal about the reason he played the Warlock, and then he moved on and played the BC Rich Beast for a while. They're over the top, and when he moved to Ibanez originally, he had a weird shaped guitar. That's what Mick's always been about, and I've always liked that. So I wouldn't really want no. Right, heading into People Equal Shit. That's the closest. I mean, not closest. That is probably the only blast beat that I have in my music collection. The drums are just immense on this. So we've got Mick Thompson in the left ear and Jim Root in the right ear. Jim has a better tone, to be honest. Actually, want to turn this up. It's too good to not have it really loud. I like this riff because it does loop and it repeats, but it doesn't fit where you would expect it to. And the kind of Sid Wilson samples here, the DJ thing. That snare sounds pretty good. I hate blast beats. Entire genres of music, I'm put off by entire genres of music by them. I really think that it really helps. And then I could Got that. I could cover this, I think. I like that riff. I don't like you. I just fuck up. Da 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 da. That riff. The slide down into the riff. Oh, so good. Woohoo! And they adhered to the rules. If you have a chorus that's as good as that, repeat it at the end. My neck hurts. Classic riff. Darren, was it you that suggested this was their best riff? I feel like you said this. Mick Thompson again, harmonics, and then Jim playing that really cool. Joey's drums are great, but there's percussion over the top of that. I don't have it in my neck anymore to do the full-on swing with my neck. But I hate Napalm Death. What are you going to do about it? Oh, okay, the one after the drop, yeah. Fuck the wound. What a great lyric. I want to slit your throat and fuck the wound. The tremolo picking. Da da da. Save! I mean, that's all Clown does. Clown is the percussionist. Chris and Clown are percussionists. That riff. The interaction between the left ear and the right ear is actually quite cool. Very cool. People make noise. People make noise. That's heck. This is more the death metal side of things, where the drums get really intense. Those are actually the parts that I don't really like. I saw Slipknot on the Volume 3 tour. Would have been. Craig does very little on the albums. There are samples that he has to put in, I guess. There's little pinch harmonics. Yeah. Do you remember when Corey Taylor used to be angry about everything? Back in the day, people would ask Corey Taylor, what are you angry about? And now Corey Taylor thinks that he needs to tell us about everything. Absolutely everything. What does Corey Taylor think about COVID-19? I don't know, but I'm sure if you look online, he's probably told you. Goodbye. This is the right amount of singing. Again, Jim here, Mick here, and they're doing the different things. Very cool. Mick building up. Well, I like the death metal parts because they're death metal parts rather than the full-on death metal thing. Yeah, I think every single person that works for Loudwire has Corey Taylor on speed dial. Cool. Okay, so one of the big singles. That was interesting. You heard noise from Mick's guitar as he rolled the volume up there. I'm surprised that didn't get cut. Now he shouts now. You're impossible, go fuck. Yeah. You fucking touch me, I will rip you apart. I reach in and take a bite out of that shit you call art. Great lyrics. Very angry. Let's go. Great groove. You know what? Infinitely more respect for Jim Root now, to be honest. I know he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but like I always thought of Mick as being the iconic Slipknot guitar player. But Jim's got some really cool parts going on in this here. And I love the fact that they're not just playing the same thing. But I'm learning myself. Not a reason to stop it, I can't just drop it. I'm just a bastard, but at least I admit it. At least I admit it! This is a belter of a song. So Grammy nominated this song, wow. Unfortunately, when I hear this, I can't see anything other than the music video, which is just full of interstitials from the Resident Evil movie. Which I loved at the time, but it's a garbage film. Hear that riff, right? Do you think that when they were writing that, Mick was like, well, what notes are available to us in the scale? Fuck you, I will never be you. Beg yourself, I know why you plague me. I know why you play yourself. I know you plague me. Oh, there's a vocal harmony in there. So when I hear vocal harmonies on Corey's vocals, that's when I go, oh, Stone Sour. So how old would Corey have been on this? So he was born in 73. He's 27 years old here. I wouldn't expect him to be, angsty teen, but yeah, he's not experienced enough life. Fucked and overrated. I think I'm gonna be sick and it's your fault. You are the end of everything. Down, 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 digga, down, down, digga, down, digga, digga, down, digga, down, down, digga, down, 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 digga, down. That's a cool riff. There's a little bit punk in the vocal there, for my taste. Digga, down, now, digga, down, now. Fucked and overrated. I think I'm gonna be sick and it's your fault. This is the end of everything. You are the end of everything. This is the end of everything. Just opens up a bit and it's magic. Ooh, punk. I agree. Saying that, you mentioned. Oh no, you didn't mention Napalm Death earlier, but I know guys that Napalm Death would have considered themselves hardcore punk. They just called themselves hardcore, but it came from punk. In the early days, I should point out that grindcore thing. It came out of hardcore punk. This is the end of everything. You are the end of everything. This is a killer record. I know the mixed guitar parts to this album intimately because when I was a kid, I had the tab book for the album and I learnt this album from start to finish. And I would play it on repeat. I'm just. And of course, I couldn't get those pinch harmonics, but. It's funny because nostalgia obviously plays a huge part in this. It's hard to be objective about something that you have so much nostalgia around. But to me, this is one of the heaviest albums that exists. It is heavy, but it's that nice blend of good production, like solid production, and then actual heavy music. Does everyone remember, or does anyone remember that time when Mick Thompson got stabbed in the head by his brother? That was a couple of years ago. They had a fight, and he was taken to hospital after being stabbed in the head. Okay, the big one. Well, it's the big one. Certainly, me and my friends used to think the Heretic Anthem was epic as it came. 6, 6, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I'm trying to listen for, Sid and Craig to see how much they're doing. It's not much. Yeah, you think Mick Thompson's a big man, and then you see Jim Root. Woo, he is a giant. If you're 5'5", then I'm 6'6". I mean, that is a terrible lyric, isn't it? What does "if you're 5'5" mean? Does that mean something? Is 5'5" something you can be? That shift in the groove there is ridiculously cool. Psychic mediums use 555 as the angel number. The hidden meaning behind angel number 555. Angel numbers 555 mean you are going through or will be going through a positive change in your life. It's a triple number, indicating that the number's 5 vibrations are also tripled. It usually symbolises a really big change, so better get ready for it. Fuck off. You'd take an instrumental mix of this album, wouldn't you? It's just that good. All that space, letting those hi-hats ring out. Beautiful. Come on, put your hands up. How many of you in the comment section are 555? Because if you are, I'm 666. Tremolo picking. Jim just making noise. 5, 6, 6, 6. No one admitting to being a 555? Fine. I'm struggling to decide thus far which is my favourite song. Isn't that because most people that listen to Slipknot now probably haven't listened to IO, or if they have, it's too heavy for them. Okay, so favourite songs so far, it's a toss-up. Disaster Piece is heavier, but I think My Plague's a better song. Okay, gently. Bass. Disaster Piece is great. It's a better piece of music, but I think My Plague's a better song. Let me see what's going on Discord. Actually, let me post a Discord link in the comments for you. Where are you? Okay, I'm just posting a link to our Discord server in the comment section. And I'm now going to try some of this 100% zesty, still Sicilian lemonade drink. It's lemonade. So there's atmosphere, but obviously I don't like the track because it takes too long to get anywhere, you know. And when the album's as long as this one is, over an hour long, we can afford to cut 5 minutes here and there. You could afford to cut this track, I think. I might have actually only heard this once, because when I was younger, I would have skipped over this by now. Yeah, I could happily cut this. Just didn't contribute anything to the album, other than leaving a nice break between the Heretic Anthem and Left Behind. And obviously, I like Left Behind. Goodbye. Oh. Oh my! I've turned into Matt Heafy. I ignore you! I ignore you! I really like this song. Thalidomide robot face. Okay? I ignore you as I close my eyes. I feel it all slipping away. The overdub on the guitar is very cool in there. Plays this. Steve, you don't need to go back to the start of the album. You can see where I am on the album on Spotify. I'm on Left Behind and I am halfway through the track. This section here is the reason why I'm not doing a cover of this song. It's getting mix. The lead guitar thing that he does here would be a pain in the ass. Beautiful. Honestly, for anyone that hasn't learned that riff, I highly recommend you learn that riff. There's something really magical about it because you're just using two fingers, but the slides from 1 to 6, there's something about it that feels really good. So there we go, smashing song, Left Behind. Epic video for that song as well, of course. Darren, do you actually do you sing like this? Because I'd have you do vocals anyway. Like if you can pull stuff like this off, happy to, mate. Come over, we'll have fun. And then this song suffers the problem of it's just come after a banger, so little lead guitar overdub there. Again, you could probably drop this. I don't know. I like the chorus. Like when I was younger, I certainly liked that chorus. But again, it's a long album. It's a long album. Hour and 5 minutes, hour and 10 minutes, something like that. So. All right. The drums on the whole album are fantastic, man. I lost my only way. Cool riff. Even cooler riff. More sampley stuff going on there. I lost my holy way. I'm about fucking 15 years too late to the party. I think maybe the thing with the song is maybe it's just the first minute of it that doesn't grab me. It's got good chorus, some great riffs in that bridge section. Yep, fine. I am hated, which I could have tattooed on my neck. Don't like the vocal processing. Yeah. They play this on Disaster Piece, don't they? Is that right? I was sure I remembered this being on Disaster Pieces. It isn't. A slow lead up to good bits is fine when the album isn't as long as this. This stream is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. I really feel I need to do a listening party of the first album because I just don't know. I don't know. It's got some great songs on it, that record. What am I talking about? I'm talking about like, oh, maybe you could cut the shape because it's a bit long, or maybe you could cut gently because it's 5 minutes long. Fucking Iowa is 15 minutes long. Cut that. There's never a reason for a song to be that long. Obviously, that's not true, but still, cut that. Phoenix Rise 1. Yeah, man, I listened to this a lot when I was younger. How long has it been since you've listened to it, though, is the question. It's funny because I think some albums you listen to and they don't age well. The problem with Ozzy's The Ultimate Sin was that it just hasn't aged well. Same with Bark at the Moon. That album has not aged well. Whereas this is like Final Fantasy IV. This is aged incredibly well. This is Super Mario World. This has aged wonderfully. I just worry that people get tired of these listening parties, Richard. Yeah, 10 plus years, that sounds about right. Thoughts on the new Slipknot album? It had a few moments on it that were Slipknot-y, but it had a lot of stuff that I'd describe as Stone Sour. Ooh. Now that percussion there, it just would be nowhere near as heavy without that, right? Is there a sample, like a Slipknot sample pack for percussion where someone's just sampled, like, beating the shit out of kegs? Destroying trash cans and shit. Come see my cage built in my grave. So for me, their new album, I would describe it as like, it depends what you're looking for as a listener. If you are a listener that listened to Slipknot when you were a kid and you've aged with the band, then their new music probably appeals to who you have become as a person, I would say. Whereas for me, I moved away and started listening to other things. So I've not really aged with the band. I've aged, but not with the band. So when I hear a new Slipknot album, what I want is them to fill this hole. You know what I mean? Rather than where they are now. The backing vocals there are a bit obnoxious. I think they're pitch strong. Oh, I like this. Andrea is on in the comments, and for those unfamiliar, check his YouTube channel. He's a wonderfully talented jazz guitar player. So to hear him saying that he still loves Slipknot that's good. You've not been completely poisoned by Wes. Let's nosh down some pineapple. It's not very nice. It's a great vocal performance from Corey. He sounds legitimately pissed. he's not acting. I can think when Zach Wilde does a new Black Label Society album, he's going through the motions now. This is a legitimately angry man. Oh, Breeze. That's a shame. You've got to hit that bell notification thing. It's just relentless, isn't it? It's just those drums they hit you just. When I put the Hell's Cat Molly album together, when Lee was doing the drums, I said I referenced this album. I was like, mate, I just want you to play. Like, just open up, play as much as you want, fill it up with drums. Because I love this. Aggressive. Just drums everywhere. Like, all these massive tom fills are just. As little pinch arm on it to kind of go, woo, 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 woo. Oh, interesting. So the new Abuse mix of My Plague is 30 seconds, 35 seconds shorter. I like that riff. I like that riff a lot. Yeah. I haven't heard that cover, no. I moved away from metal pretty, not soon after this, but certainly moved. I don't know how I'd describe it. I moved into what, like, more musical, virtuosic metal would be the kind of way I'd describe it. Right, metabolic. Nice. Don't know how I feel about those little samples over the top. Great riff. That little chromatic run's kind of cool. Yeah. Kind of progressive like that. This part, this is pretty standard, like backbeat type thing. Slides up the neck, super cool. Chugga chug chug, chugga da chugga chug. Yeah. So I would, if I'm completely honest, I would say that I think the album it's got that kind of Ozzy Osbourne Miracle Man one. No Rest for the Wicked, no More Tears problem, which is all of the best songs are stacked at the start. It's dragging a little bit now for me. The listening just to the bass drums there, the click on the attack is almost sounds like someone going like. The other thing to note about these listening party streams is these force me to actually use Spotify, you know, that thing I pay for but never use. I'm getting actual value out of it now. Okay, last song, Iowa. 15 minutes long. Strap in. This is one that Corey Taylor alleges, totally not true, that he performed this one naked while self-harming and vomiting all over himself. The things artists say in order to sell albums, right? In slow burn. But we knew that, didn't we? We knew it was going to be a slow burn. It's the part where Corey is trying to make out that he's viewing over himself. I just think if that's the story that you're going to tell, there are other tracks on the album that you would make the argument for doing that on. You know, ones where you're really fucking angry. Is he cutting himself out of boredom? I plan to skip it if I'm completely honest, Darren, but I'm gonna stick it out. I don't get the mindset behind putting something like this on your record, though. Again, long album, very, very, very long album. Why this? 3 minutes. Don't worry, Morris. I can assure you I won't look up the band Silencer. Just not going anywhere, is it? Like, fucking do something. Still 10 minutes of this to go, though, so, you know. Let me put that into context for you. 10 minutes of this to go, right? That's 1/3 of David Lee Roth's Eat 'Em and Smile album. This song on its own is half the length of David Lee Roth's Eat 'Em and Smile. Yeah, I need to stay away. I've got to teach after this. Why does a Pepperami sheath look so much like a condom? Does it have to? You just see one lying there and you're like, what is that? Has a dwarf been having sex in my house? Diowa. Very good, Connor. You avoided it. Well done. You got lucky. I mean, I'm not being dishonest. I'm being unfair by using David Lee Roth's Eat 'Em and Smile as a measuring stick because it is a very short album. Pepperami. Condoms for pencil dicks. Someone should have been shot over this. 6 minutes in and nothing's happened. Is this where he's vomiting? Imagine putting the level of effort into this song that Corey claims that he did for it to come out sounding like this. Let's put it in another perspective, right? The biggest Slipknot. Let's rally up 10,000 of the biggest Slipknot fans in the world, right? 10,000 of them. Ask them what their favourite song is. and see how many say Iowa. It's us at the halfway point. Not done anything. What a terribly disappointing way to end an album. What an anticlimax. I'm having to, in my mind, I'm looking at the song Disaster Piece, I'm having to imagine that playing to make this better. Don't let this mar your opinion of the album, Levi. I feel this takes a great album and makes it good, or an incredible album and makes it great. All right, let's go for this. Why is Slipknot considered new metal? They're not really. I mean, they're definitely metal. They sound very different from the rap new metal bands. They do, but I think it really comes down to the first album. If you listen to the first album, songs like "Spit It Out" and "Surfacing," they have a lot of DJ work in them, lots of samples. This particular album moves heavily away from that because I think they were smart enough to understand that new metal was novel. Very good, Darren. Well, have you know there's 13 of you now. "10 minutes in, right, and still not a single thing has been presented to me that justifies the existence of this piece of music." It is still a special album. It is an amazing album. I just think that here's a bold claim, right? Of the hundreds of thousands of people that have purchased this album, I would say you're talking single digit percentages. I'll go further than that. Decimal point percentage of people that own this album have ever listened to this song, Iowa, all the way through. That might be a bold claim, but I'm going to stand by it. I'm listening to this right now looking for the good in it. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. Find something positive I can say about it. I cannot find anything positive to say about this. It has not met the basic criteria of music, which is justifying its own existence. What does this bring to the table? Nothing. And factor in it's 15 fucking minutes long. Oh, I pulled my camera. Let's fix that. That's the problem of having a cable that goes behind your PC. Every now and again, you'll stick your feet out and kick it. Atrocious. My daughter's first tooths just came in this minute. What a fantastic piece of music to mark that occasion. Yeah, man, that's beautiful. When she's older, 18, you can have this piece of music transcribed. Just get the tab book for it, right? And present it to her on a plaque. He's not really done anything on that. Like, he's creating background noise for the track. Still a minute to go. Say that one more time. What a terrible way to end the album. I can't believe that nowhere in the process of this album being put together, recorded, mixed, mastered, the record label listening to it, nobody said, you can probably cut that track. I can't do anything like Sid does. Okay, so that's the end of the album. I am going to allow it to go on and play Just My Plague, the new Abuse mix. This is the version that was presented for it was used as a single for Resident Evil, the film. Essentially the same as the original, but with more singing rather than shouting. Here we go, My Plague, new Abuse mix, and then we'll end. You can hear all the noise in mixed guitar there. That's annoying. It's doubled the vocal. That bitch you call a heart. Okay. He's really trying to enunciate all the words. It sounds terrible. There was a middle section in there, the original, that's been cut. Corey sounds like he's smiling when he's doing the vocals on this, and it annoys me. Kill you, fuck me, kill you, fuck you, I will never be. They cut that bit out. That's the 30 seconds that we've saved. I know why you plague me. I know why you blame yourself. Yeah. Vocal harmony is a lot more prominent there. know why you play yourself. I know why you playing me. I know why you. Can anyone remember another song, not a Slipknot song, that had that same treatment? And there is a connection between these two things. There was another song that was released maybe a year later, not by Slipknot, where there was an original version of it that was sung and shouted for the most part, and then they did a release of it where it was sung instead of being shouted. Can anyone remember what that song was? I'll give you a minute just to think about that one. While I'm doing that, while you're thinking about that, maybe giving me an answer, I'm going to say a big thank you to my supporters over on Patreon. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Thank you very much. If you are one of my patrons and you're watching, I really appreciate your love, kindness, and support, especially in this trying times. I hope everybody is staying home. I hope you are looking after yourselves, looking after your families, looking after your communities, and all of that good stuff. Extra special thanks to Chris Motes, who is currently one of my top tier patrons. Thanks very much for your support, man. You made a big difference in my stress this month. So, yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. And if you would like to head on over to Amazon and check out one of my books, I think they're starting to ship again now, so that's cool. You can just search for Levi Clay and you will find one of my books. I have quite a few of them, and you're likely to find one that you enjoy. So, yeah. All right, let's go back to my face. So, anyone know the answer to that? Anyone think what that is? Or can someone make the connection? You know, I said that they're related for some reason. I'm going to pull it up so you can see it. There we go. So the answer to the question is kill switch engaged, the end of Heartache. I'll bring it up just so you can see it. Obviously, won't allow you to listen to it. I said that there is I said that there was a connection between the two. What is that connection? Let's have a look. Let's allow it to play. Let's pause it when we see what that connection is. So this is fine. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is a great song, a classic song. I don't know why I'm muting it for myself. I'm allowed to hear it. So, yeah, any sec now. Here we go. This? I mean, I'm making a tit of myself now, aren't I? Huh. I am 99.9% sure that this was a single for the next Resident Evil film. But evidently, that's not in the video. But it's certainly in my memory, so. There you go. I need to check that one now to see if I was right about that. Because that would be embarrassing. I mean, not that I'm immune from embarrassment. Okay, there was a different video. Yeah, there was a. See, I'm not crazy. I know I'm not crazy. This is the Resident Evil version. Yeah. Yeah, I remembered this. Oh, crazy. I didn't know there were two versions of the video, so it zooms in on that and then you get the... And it cuts to bits from Resident Evil. Yeah. I was worried there that I didn't know what I was talking about. I'd like to think my memory's a little bit better than that. Right, let me read any last comments and then I'm going to go and get some time away before I have to teach this evening. So Darren Watson, yeah, The Tooth. Oh my God, Dad, the iconic Iowa album by Slipknot. No, and the 15-minute piece of noise at the end. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not crazy too. I genuinely was panicked there. I was like, I'm sure that this was the Resident Evil stuff was in the video for this. Yeah, I had no idea that they did two different versions of the video though. That's kind of crazy. Like, I don't know why you'd do that, but I guess did you make videos for both versions of the song? It's really like I've got it on still. I'm watching it here. Like, it's very, very limited the amount of actual stuff from actual stuff that they use from the film. Because if you go to look at the I'll just pull it up, My Plague single. So if I look at the My Plague video, like, it opened, they're really hammering it, whereas Killswitch Engage, they didn't really do all that much to actually push the fact that that was a single for Resident Evil. So, but there we go, another Resident Evil film ruining a great single, turning it into a disastrous one. Richard Henry says, get the Mick Thompson mask for doing the Slipknot cover. All I had was a Mexican wrestling mask, looked terrible. Yeah, Connor was mentioning getting one, and I looked up getting one actually for Halloween last year. I was going to get a Mick Thompson mask, and I was going to go as Mick Thompson to a Halloween party. But I think that right now I'm being very conservative with money and spending £30, £40, £50, however much it will cost to get it shipped over, is probably not the smartest use of money, seeing as most of my income disappeared last month or this month. So yeah, I would love one. I'd love to have one one day. I'll get one day. What I'm more likely to do is wrap tinfoil around my face. So yeah, why not? Right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. If you did, please do like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Subscribe, hit that bell notification, tell your friends, tell your enemies, all that good stuff. And yeah, I'll be back shortly. We'll be back with a Guitar Souls video. And also, I'll announce this now. I'm set up now to do listening parties, but I can do them remotely with other people. So I can bring Mike in, because we're obviously social distancing. Although he lives across the road from me, we're still social distancing. So we're going to do a listening party of Megadeth's Rust in Peace. And depending on how well that goes moving forward, I will hopefully be able to get other people on for guest listening parties. So yeah, we'll be able to talk about music. And sometimes that will mean we can do things like me and Mike listening to an album that we love. Or other times it might mean that we can do, I don't know, me and Martin Miller listening to Martin Miller's album, and he can talk about it and we can talk about stories about it, etc. So I think there's a lot of potential. As always, please do like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that stuff, because yeah, when I do things like that, I want there to be an audience for them. So much love, and I will see you for another video soon. Goodbye.